Welcome to S&P Knowledge Series. In this episode, let's discuss on the topic, Strategies for Better Negotiating with OEM Suppliers. Authored by S.N. Panigrahi. Certified PMP, Authorized Training Partner, ATP, Instructor, PMI, USA, Fellow Institution of Engineers, FIA, Chartered Engineer, Certified Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, Certified Lead Auditor IMS, Z Consultant, GST and International Business and Projects Consultant, Corporate Trainer, Mentor and Author, National Council Member, IIMN. Contract negotiation refers to the process of reaching mutually agreeable terms and conditions between parties before entering into a legally binding contract. Critical considerations during this process involve thoroughly understanding each party's needs, carefully reviewing and clearly defining the scope of work, deliverables, and performance expectations, clearly defining rights and responsibilities, and addressing potential risks or contingencies to protect the interests of all parties involved and to avoid potential misunderstandings and disputes during the project execution. Successful negotiations can lead to cost savings, improved product quality, overall competitiveness and strengthened relationships with suppliers. Negotiating with original equipment manufacturers, OEM, suppliers is a critical aspect of managing procurement and supply chains and ensuring favorable terms and conditions in business operations. OEM, original equipment manufacturer, refers to a company that produces components or products that are used in another company's end product. Negotiating with OEM suppliers has some constraints like availability of limited supplier in the market, limited alternatives and limited scope for negotiation of price, payments and other terms, therefore, requires a strategic approach, focusing on building strong relationships, exploring value-added services, and seeking long-term partnerships to achieve the best possible terms and maintaining a competitive edge in the market. When negotiating with OEM suppliers, conduct thorough market research, identify and leverage unique value, consider lifespan costs, negotiate volume discounts, and develop win-win agreements that address both your organization's needs and seek to establish long-term partnerships to secure favorable terms and build strong relationships. Here let's discuss some effective strategies with detailed explanations and examples to better negotiate with OEM suppliers successfully. Let us now discuss some strategic aspects for better negotiating with OEM suppliers. Conduct market research and gather market intelligence. Before entering into negotiations, conduct thorough market research to understand the industry trends and practices, the prevailing market prices, pricing benchmarks, supplier capabilities and the supplier's position and industry standards. Gather intelligence on competitors' agreements with similar OEM suppliers to gain insights into the best negotiation practices. This knowledge will give you leverage during negotiations. Armed with this knowledge, you can negotiate from an informed position. For example, before negotiating with an OEM supplier for electronic components, a company researches market prices, recent price fluctuations, emerging technologies and identifies alternative suppliers with competitive offers, and the supplier's position in the market and benchmarking prices to set realistic cost reduction goals. If you find that a competitor is sourcing similar components at a lower cost, you can use this information to benchmarking prices to negotiate a better deal with your OEM supplier. Define clear requirements and scope. Clearly outline your specific needs and expectations from the OEM supplier. Define the scope of work, technical specifications, quality standards, delivery timelines, and any other critical factors and any special requirements to avoid ambiguity during negotiations. Having a well-defined scope ensures both parties understand the deliverables, aligning expectations and reduces the risk of miscommunication and allows suppliers to provide accurate quotes and proposals. Example: when negotiating with an OEM supplier for manufacturing machinery or customized parts, specify the exact specifications, materials, and tolerances allowed, performance expectations, and any specific quality standards you need the machinery or materials to meet to ensure OEM supplier understand your precise requirements. Set clear negotiation objectives considering total cost of ownership, TCO. Establish specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, SMART, negotiation objectives and targets. To negotiate effectively with OEM suppliers, establish clear negotiation objectives focused on cost reduction, quality assurance, timely delivery, and flexible contract terms. Set specific targets for cost savings, quality metrics, on-time delivery, and service level agreements to achieve mutually beneficial outcomes, fostering a productive and mutually beneficial partnership that strengthens your relationship with the suppliers. Be realistic yet ambitious and prioritize what is most critical to your business. This will help in focusing the negotiation strategy and measuring the success of the negotiation outcome. In negotiations with OEM suppliers, prioritize total cost of ownership (TCO) understanding by thoroughly evaluating not only the upfront purchase cost but also the ongoing maintenance, operational expenses, and potential downtime costs. This comprehensive approach ensures a well-informed decision and a more accurate evaluation of the overall value, economic impact and benefits of the equipment or products offered by the OEM suppliers that considers over their entire life cycle. Example: your negotiation objective may be to secure a 10% price reduction on the essential spares while ensuring a guaranteed supply for the next 2 years. When negotiating with an OEM supplier for industrial machinery, it is essential to consider the total cost of ownership (TCO) beyond the initial equipment cost. This includes evaluating factors such as maintenance, spare parts availability, energy consumption, and the supplier's after-sales support, which collectively impact the true long-term value and cost-effectiveness of the machinery. Leverage volume and long-term commitments and support. Leverage volume and long-term commitments involve consolidating your requirements across different units or for an extended period to gain better negotiating power during contract discussions with OEM suppliers. If you have substantial purchasing volume or are willing to commit to a long-term partnership, by consolidating your demand and committing to a long-term partnership, you can achieve several advantages to gain negotiating power. Suppliers are often more willing to offer better pricing, willing to provide discounts and preferential terms when they see a significant and stable source of business over an extended period. Explore the possibility of bundling multiple products or services together to negotiate better overall pricing. Alternatively, also may consider unbundling offerings to focus on individual components for more targeted negotiations. Examples: negotiate with an OEM supplier to purchase a large quantity of materials upfront in exchange for a discounted unit price over an extended period. Committing to a long-term contract for regular purchases can lead to better pricing for essential spares or components. Negotiate with an OEM supplier to bundle equipment installation and maintenance services for a packaging line to achieve a discounted package price. When negotiating with the OEM, seek long-term commitments for spare parts availability, with confirmed prices or with price escalations, and seek support for the over an extended period or entire machine's life cycle at the time of equipment purchase itself. This ensures a seamless supply of spare parts at agreed prices, minimizing downtime and enhancing the machine's operational longevity. Additionally, secure assurance for continued technical and training support and upgraded technological provision throughout the entire life cycle of the machinery to ensure smooth operations and avoid disruptions due to spare parts unavailability. Weigh multiple suppliers, multiple bids. When negotiating with OEM suppliers, leveraging multiple suppliers and seeking multiple bids can be an effective strategy to gain a competitive advantage and secure the best possible terms. Engage with multiple OEM suppliers and seek competitive bids. Encouraging competition among suppliers can drive them to offer more attractive proposals and potentially better terms. This approach also reduces dependency on a single supplier and enhances your bargaining power. Example: request proposals from different OEM suppliers for a manufacturing project, and use the bids as leverage to negotiate better pricing and terms. When negotiating for IT services, approach several reputable OEM suppliers and compare their proposals to secure the best deal. Benchmark with competitors. Benchmarking with competitors during negotiations with OEM suppliers is a better strategy because it provides valuable insights into industry norms, pricing trends, and competitive offerings. Benchmark the negotiated terms and conditions with those of your competitors to ensure that your negotiation outcomes are fair and competitive within the industry. By adopting a data-driven approach and leveraging benchmark data, companies can gain a stronger negotiating position, ensure they receive competitive terms, and make informed decisions that align with industry standards and practices. Example: after received an offer from an OEM supplier for specialized equipment, compare the terms with industry peers to ensure they are in line with prevailing standards. For example, an automobile manufacturer is negotiating with an OEM supplier for the supply of critical engine components. By benchmarking the proposed pricing and terms with those of other competitors in the market, the manufacturer discovers that some competitors are receiving more favorable pricing for similar components. Armed with this knowledge, they can leverage the benchmark data to negotiate for better pricing, potentially leading to cost savings and increased competitiveness. Understand supplier cost structure. Gain insights into the supplier's cost structure, including raw materials, labor, overheads, and profit margins to identify potential cost-saving opportunities and negotiate based on a deeper understanding of their cost drivers. This knowledge will help identify potential areas for cost reduction and accordingly rationalize pricing during negotiations, leading to mutually beneficial outcomes. Example: when negotiating with an OEM supplier for construction materials, request a breakdown of their cost components, such as raw materials, labor, and overhead, to assess the reasonability of their pricing. When negotiating with an OEM supplier for custom-made electronics, understanding the cost breakdown helps identify cost drivers and enables the buyer to propose alternative materials or production methods that may reduce overall costs. During negotiations with an OEM supplier for specialized software, inquire about their cost breakdown to identify any areas where costs can be minimized. Mitigate risk of obsolescence. In negotiating with OEM suppliers, addressing the risk of obsolescence is a critical consideration. Address the risk of obsolescence by discussing and sharing the risk between both parties. This may include provisions for phased-out spares replacement or last-time buys to manage any future obsolescence challenges. Following strategies may be adopted to mitigate the risk of obsolescence. Examples: negotiate long-term contracts with OEM suppliers that include provisions for accommodating changes in technology and product upgrades. This could involve clauses that allow for the replacement of obsolete components with newer versions without significantly affecting the overall contract terms. Work with the OEM supplier to establish a phased component lifecycle management plan. This plan should outline how both parties will handle the gradual phase-out of components, ensuring that alternative solutions or last-time buys are arranged before the components become obsolete. Collaborate closely with the OEM supplier to identify potential risks of obsolescence well in advance. Consider partnering with the OEM supplier to invest in research and development initiatives aimed at anticipating and addressing future obsolescence risks. Encourage the OEM supplier to establish a robust supplier network or dual sourcing strategy. This means that if one supplier faces obsolescence issues, there are alternatives in place to maintain a continuous supply of critical components. Consider implementing buffer stock for critical components to mitigate the impact of potential obsolescence and avoid production interruptions. Include provisions for sourcing obsolete components, either through the OEM supplier or third-party distributors. These strategies promote a collaborative and proactive approach to addressing potential obsolescence challenges, safeguarding the long-term sustainability of your products and operations. Performance-based or value-added incentives. Introduce performance-based incentives tied to key performance indicators, KPIs, or value-added incentives that encourage suppliers to achieve specific targets or to exceed expectations. These incentives can motivate the supplier to deliver superior products or services beyond the initial agreement. Examples: negotiate with an OEM supplier for electronic devices and offer a performance-based incentive for meeting stringent quality control standards. Negotiate with an OEM supplier to include performance-based bonuses for achieving agreed-upon milestones or for consistently delivering products ahead of schedule. Build and maintain long-term relationships. By highlighting long-term commitment and focusing on building and maintaining relationships with OEM suppliers, companies can foster strong partnerships that lead to mutual benefits, improved performance, and a competitive advantage in the marketplace. Suppliers are more likely to prioritize customers with long-term commitments, giving them access to preferential treatment and status, allocate dedicated resources considering as loyal partners, and offer higher service levels. This can result in faster response times, better service and better support. Building and maintaining a strong partnership can lead to better terms, increased trust, and collaboration on future projects. Emphasize your company's commitment to building a long-term partnership with the supplier, leading to more favorable terms and a mutually beneficial relationship. Examples: during negotiations, express your intention to collaborate on future projects, which can encourage the supplier to offer more competitive pricing to secure your ongoing or upcoming business. During negotiations with an OEM supplier for specialized chemicals, communicate your intention to maintain a long-term relationship and seek continuous improvements. Be open to creative solutions and focus on prioritize a win. Stay open to creative and innovative proposals or solutions that may address your needs in unique ways, beyond conventional approaches such as collaboratively exploring opportunities for process or product improvements, or sharing risks and rewards. By jointly identifying innovative solutions, such as efficiency enhancements or cost reductions, alternative low-cost materials usage, both the buyer and supplier can achieve mutual benefits and strengthen their long-term partnership. Focus on the total value offered by the supplier, considering factors beyond just the initial cost, such as product quality, delivery reliability, and after-sales support and additional benefits. Examples: when negotiating with an OEM supplier for packaging machine, explore eco-friendly materials use or redesigning packaging solutions to suit the specific requirements. Optimizing shipping costs etc. can lead to cost savings for the buyer and increased sustainability for the supplier, resulting in a win-win situation. While negotiating with an OEM supplier for industrial machinery, explore the possibility of a leasing arrangement to reduce initial costs and benefit from maintenance and upgrades. Negotiate with an OEM supplier to share the cost of developing a new product that benefits both companies, and establish a revenue sharing arrangement once the product is successful. When negotiating with an OEM supplier for logistics services, consider a revenue sharing model that incentivizes efficiency and cost savings for both parties. Prioritize a win-win approach and emphasize win-win solutions. Focus on finding mutually beneficial solutions that address both your needs and the OEM supplier's interests to foster a positive, sustainable relationship and avoid adversarial tactics. Approach negotiations with the mindset of seeking mutually beneficial outcomes. Emphasize win-win solutions that address the interests and objectives of both parties. Collaborative negotiations build stronger relationships, foster a positive and cooperative relationship, and lead to more sustainable agreements. Example: rather than solely focusing on price reductions, collaborate with an OEM supplier for custom electronic components to streamline the production process and achieve cost savings for both parties. During negotiations, collaborate with the OEM supplier to find cost-saving measures that do not compromise product quality, benefiting both parties in the long run. During negotiations with an OEM supplier for specialty chemicals, work collaboratively to identify areas where cost optimization can be achieved without compromising on product quality or service levels. Conclusion: effective negotiation with OEM suppliers requires thorough strategic preparation. Key steps include conducting market research and gathering market intelligence to understand industry trends and competitor agreements. Clearly defining requirements and scope helps avoid misunderstandings during negotiations, while setting clear negotiation objectives and targets provides focus and direction. Leveraging volume and long-term commitments and building relationships fosters a positive and sustainable partnership. Being open to creative solutions and focusing on total value ensures a comprehensive negotiation approach, while prioritizing a win-win outcome strengthens collaboration and mutual benefits. Addressing the risk of obsolescence involves establishing long-term contracts with flexibility, obsolescence forecasting, and joint investment in future technologies, among other measures. By following these strategic preparation steps, you can enhance your negotiation effectiveness and increase the likelihood of securing favorable terms and agreements with OEM suppliers. Do you find the presentation informative and useful? If yes, then click like and also subscribe the channel for free to receive updates. Thank you. For more details contact SN Panigrahi at the below contact details.